Hey there, this is Paul Fisher from the hit TV show Remodel on the CW, Monday night at 9 o'clock. You're watching Fashion Faces TV. Watch it right now. Tune in. Tune in. Don't piss me off.
So what is different from the last season that we can expect in the new season, you know, maybe influential-wise or model-wise or scout-wise, agency-wise for the network?
There's a couple of really cool episodes that I'm really, really proud of. You know, our finale is actually a Vegas agency. And it's really cool. It was the oldest agency in Vegas. They've been here for 50 years. And so I had to kind of bring them into the year 2012. And it was a very challenging episode, a very fun episode. We have another episode we call the Crying episode. It was done in Columbus, Ohio, and it was called the Segals. And this agency is becoming one of my best agencies, and they were a terrible agency. They didn't have any idea what they're doing. But this is a family-run organization, and when I tell you the most beautiful family you've ever met in your life, and they are finding some of the most amazing stars in the world. But yes, we called it the Crying episode, was because I would buy them computers, and they would start bawling their eyes out. I would paint their office, they'd start bawling their eyes out. I would give them all these brand new models, they would start bawling their eyes out. I was literally. So we call it the Crying episode because, you know, and then I was about to give them something, and little Joseph would go, "Oh my God, Paul, don't do that. They're going to start bawling their eyes out." So we call it the Crying episode. So there's some really cool episodes, some really, really cool scenes, and you know, I have a lot of fun shooting the show. A lot of fun.
Okay. What can we expect from tonight?
Tonight's off the hook. Tonight is sick. Tonight is sick. I'll tell you why it's sick. First of all, I found a little kid, Megan Wiggins, at Kiva Juice. She's going to open up my show today as the face of Guess. She's the face of Guess. She was my server at Kiva Juice. You're going to see Bobby Rake, who's in the show. Beautiful Bobby Rake. We call him Zeus. Bobby Rake signed an exclusive contract with Calvin Klein. You're going to see Bobby Rake rock out the show. So for me, you know, we did this show 1 week here, 1 week there, 1 week here. And now to see all the kids together, to see Bobby here and Shaughnessy here and Jordan here and Megan here, and then all the agencies here in town. So for me, you know, it's like a proud father, getting to watch your kids walk down the runway. And so tonight is kind of like a 4-step party. We just had a big dinner party with all the kids from the show. All the cast is here from the show. Now we're going to do a bitchin' fashion show. This place is going to be packed in a little bit. Then we're going to have a big old party. But the problem is the party, the kids are under 21, so they can't get into the nightclub. So I have a second crew of my models that are over 21 that'll be coming to the party, the after party. And then we all meet up at about 1 o'clock in the morning for cake and cookie and stuff like that with all the little kids. So it's a hell of a night. It's going to be a very, very long night. I actually haven't slept. I actually came to Vegas yesterday. I did press yesterday, and then I had to go home last night, do an all-night prayer session. Then I had to come back at 7 o'clock this morning and do press again. So I'm actually on about 5 energy drinks right now.
And mints.
And a bunch of mints.
How do you feel being an influence over all of these models?
Humbled. Yeah, very, very humbled. I set out a couple of years ago to truly have an effect on the modeling industry, to truly create a safe environment for young women. And I found my faith about 9 years ago, and I wanted to teach young kids about giving back and about sharing with the world and about taking their physical looks as a blessing from God and understanding it's a serious responsibility. And I didn't know if people were gonna, you know, if it was gonna resonate with their soul. And so the fact that they did a show about me and my company, and the fact that young people around the world, young girls, actually, are appreciating the things that I'm saying. It's very, very humbling. It makes it all worth it.
For those children who, you know, don't necessarily make it into the modeling industry, what would you recommend to them how to be role models in their everyday life?
Wow, that's a great question. That's a really great question. You know, in my faith, we believe that the only truly way to receive is to share and to give until it's painful. And I don't, some of my kids, become very, very famous models. Megan Wiggins, who's here now, is the face of Guess. And so she has a large platform now and a huge responsibility to have a voice from that platform to speak to other young kids. But many young people don't have the kind of platform that is being now granted to Megan. But we all have our own individual journeys, and I just think it's about whoever you are and whatever city you live in and whatever is important to you. I just think it's about caring about others more than you do yourself. I think it's about giving back until it's painful. I think young kids should just, they don't have to be Megan Wiggins. They don't have to be the face of Guess to actually make a difference in this world. They just have to find something that touches their heart and something that really resonates with them, and give back until it's painful. Find something that really resonates with you that you can share with the world, and share and continue to share some more.
I completely agree. So I'm hearing you mention some of the Paulisms. Obviously you're familiar with those. Let's name top 3 of those Paulisms that you would, want to share with our network, our fashion network.
Well, I have to be, as always, very brutally honest. Most of the things that people call Paulisms, they actually come from my spiritual teachers. And, we believe in my faith that if you believe in something, more than anything in the world, you'll actually see it. And most people believe that you actually have to see something before you believe it. And we believe that you have to believe before you see. And I try to teach my young, beautiful models around the world that, if Megan and Shaughnessy and Bobby Rake, if they could actually see themselves walking down the runway for Victoria's Secret, for Calvin Klein, for Ralph Lauren, if they believe it, if they believe it and they believe it with every fiber of their being, it'll actually become a reality. So believe and you will see is one of the Paulisms. Another one that I think is really, really important to me is there's only one enemy in this world, and it's doubt. The enemy isn't the other models or the other agencies or some foreign country. The enemy that's been put inside of each one of us is doubt. And, and it goes back to having 100% certainty and never letting any, not having a backup plan and having 100% certainty and zero doubt. So I try to teach my kids that all the time, that just, if you want to be the face of Guess, if you want to be the Prada girl, if you want to be the Gucci boy, believe more than anything in the world that actually can become a reality, but then want those things for the right reasons. Don't want to become the face of Guess or the face of Prada just so you see your face, on the cover of a magazine or on a billboard. Want those things so you can actually have an effect on young kids all over the world. And if your intentions are correct and your conscience is correct, I believe those doors will naturally just open for you.
I agree. So, with your kids, a lot of them have grown up like Naomi. Do you see any resemblance in your newer, younger kids that you do in your older kids?
Yeah, that's a hard subject because, I've been the personal agent of, Naomi Campbell. Naomi Campbell, Stephanie Seymour, Carrie Otis, Ava Takova, Brooke Burke, Kimora Lee Simmons, Jaimin Hanasu. I can name hundreds of kids. But do you know what the problem was, Jess? When I was their agent, I was an asshole. I was a drug addict. I was a man that I am very, very not proud of.
It's before your spiritual rebirth, correct?
Yeah. And so, I actually very, very much dislike that man that was that famous Paul Fisher modeling agent guy. I very, very embarrassed by him, to be perfectly honest with you. And so now it's my job, it's my responsibility to, to take our very beautiful souls, these beautiful models, and God willing, walk the walk, and become a great role model for them. Because before I was a terrible role model. So the difference, yes, I'm seeing a difference in the boys and the girls that I represent, but I think it's because of me, because I'm not the same Paul anymore. And so when Megan Wiggins got the Guess campaign, I said, Megan, what are you going to go do? And she says, I'm going to go feed the homeless. And I can't even tell you, how emotional that makes me feel to think that I could have just a tiny little impact on a young person like that I'm trying to teach her about giving back. And her first reaction right when she got Guess is, it wasn't like fed to her and told to her what to say. I just said, Maeve, what are you going to do now? You're the face of Guess. And she goes, you know what I'm going to do, Paulie? I'm going to go feed the homeless. And that's humbling.
She's absolutely beautiful, and that's totally commendable. I respect every morsel of her and everything that she's doing to give back. How do you give back, other than, contributing to your kids? Do you go out and feed the homeless? Do you support charities? What do you do to influence giving back?
Well, the faith that I belong to is called the Kabbalah Center. It's very, very, very important to me. I'm also, and so I do a lot of tithing and giving back to the Kabbalah Center. But there's a project that's become very, very important to me. It's called the Millennium Project. And the Millennium Project is the brainchild of a man named Dr. Jeffrey Sachs. It's about ending world poverty. Megan and I, and about 10 of our other models, we're planning a trip to go to Ghana in August. And you know, Dr. Sachs, who's a very, very special, very powerful man, you know, literally helps countries with their finances. You know, he said to me, he goes, Paul, I'm so excited you're bringing Megan and all these famous kids over to Africa. It's going to be so much press and bring so much attention to what we're doing. And I said to Dr. Sachs, I said, do you know what you're doing for us? When you can have these young, beautiful kids actually see that they could actually work for one day and make $10,000, and then they could feed a whole village for a year for that $10,000, I want my kids to realize, you know, that there's a big world going on out there and there's a huge responsibility. So, you know, my giving back is, you know, I do give back, and I try to be kind of confidential about the things who I give to. I think it's a very, very private thing. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a company and an army of young women around the world who give back. And so far, step by step, we're maybe not an army yet, but we're getting there. My name is Paul Fisher. I'm the CEO of the network. I'm also the star of a hit television show on the CW, where we air every Monday night at 9 o'clock on the CW. The name of our show is called Remodeled. If you ever want to become a model, which, by the way, I don't suggest to anybody. I think the modeling industry is the hardest thing in the world for a young person to get into. So if you see a guy like me, run away from a guy like me. But if you do want to model, go to thenetworktalent.com. Thenetworktalent.com. You can learn everything that you could possibly want to know about the modeling industry. But once again, run away from guys like me. Don't do this shit.
But don't run away from girls like me. I'm Jessica from Fashion Spaces TV. Thank you so much.